you just say? Cheese.
Okay.
Okay. Ha. Shukra drishte.
Drishte.
Nadaha.
Nadaha.
If Shukra aspects that Sun Rahu Yoga, or that Sun Rahu Mars Yoga, the daha, the burn will not happen. Okay? So that fire combination we saw before, Venus can quell it. So Venus aspecting produces a firefighter, or the fire may not occur at all. Somebody who is quelling the fire, controlling the fire, subduing the fire. Venus in a chart is the best planet to fight all the Agni Grahas. So if you have an Agni problem in your chart, find Venus. If it aspects, strengthen Venus. Similarly, all the Vayu problems caused by Saturn and Rahu can single-handedly be taken care of by Mercury. Note that down so you can give remedies. You'll see people with such issues in charts. Mars Ketu Yoga, Saturn Rahu Yoga. You know which remedy to give them.
So they could wear a diamond, it would help them.
So people who have ghost problems, Saturn Rahu Yoga, you give them earth mantras, Prithvi mantras, Mercury mantras.
Is it not Mars Ketu?
Mars Ketu is for Venus.
It's Vayu, the ghost will be Vayu problem.
Venu, Lakshmi.
Venus will take care of the fire, like water she puts on fire. As per Hindu tradition, Lakshmi, the deity of Venus, holds the Agni Stambhana mantra. This mantra is Shreem. Agni Stambhana means that which quells or holds the fire. Agni Stambhana. And is always worshipped inside the lamp to protect the house from fire hazards and other evils. So when you have a lamp, how the lamp is burning, how the lamp is showing what's going on with the house. The lamp itself, the physical structure of the lamp, shows what's happening with the house. So please get, if you're going to use a lamp, get a nice strong lamp, not these small clay lamps and all which can break easily. A strong lamp made of brass, something like that, which will last. Make sure that the edges are smooth, no major insertions in them, no breaks, holes or anything. The way it is formed is also the form of your house. How are you worshipping the lamp is how your house is going to be. Okay? That's what protects you in the house. Some people, what they do is they take a Shri Yantra and they put the lamp on top of the Shri Yantra and light it. Because of this, Venus or Lakshmi, particularly Lakshmi, will be able to control that fire. And it's very good for the house. It can also give lots of wealth, which is also very good. Lots of comfort, which is also very good. So I have focused a lot of yantras today. Please study yantras more carefully. Please. It's very good for you to know more about yantras. Only Venus holds the key to fire extinguishing mantra, the Agni Stambhana mantra, and can extinguish all fires. These are poisonous substances with antidotes. So a poisonous substance is like a fire. Like when they say when you drink poison, you'll feel as if you're burning inside. So Venus can take care of that if it's caused by Mars or Ketu. House fires, Venus will also take care of with water and sand. Or even the sexual fire which burns in people, Venus can extinguish through copulation. Alright, so Venus is the solution to these fires. No, don't go blank. Get out of blank. How did I do that? Blank. Oh, okay. Thank you. Guru Drishte.
Guru Drishte.
Tva Samipa Grahat. Jupiter aspecting the fire hazard combination instead of Venus indicates one who will set fire to his own house or that of a neighbor instead of others.
So to just add the
So
doors
Jupiter-
to the flame.
Yes, he's actually making the fire grow. But what is actually happening is that it brings it to the self. You're bringing the fire home instead. Okay? Sagulike vishado,
Sagulike Vishado,
vishahatova.
Vishatova.
Gulika in the swamsa makes the native consume poison or poison others. See, when we speak of Gulika, it's necessary to mention Mandi also. Gulika is that son of Saturn, who has come to this world to ensure that Saturn is able to do his job. The Upagrahas are the children of the Grahas. Okay? Now imagine the Grahas. Grahas are up here. The children of the Grahas are our generation. So how are the Grahas working? Through the Upagrahas, because the Upagrahas are here on our generation. The Grahas are the previous generation, the elders. So Upagrahas are very important in the chart. Very important. The Grahas really function in our lives through Upagrahas. And each Graha has an Upagraha which is functioning directly on us. Directly. Gulika is calculated from the middle of the Saturn's portion. Remember that for later. Gulika and Mandi are interchanged when you look at the texts, but their calculations are very different. So, just remember, Gulika is calculated based on Kala, and you will occupy the middle of the Saturn's Kala, which is the 7th Kala. Prashnamarga has made even more confusion about this, where he actually uses both terms, both Gulika and Mandi, interchangeably, whereas other texts may only refer to one of them, like only Gulika or only Mandi. Now, this Gulika here is basically starting the drug cycle. When he associates with the Karakamsa, you are very susceptible to get into taking poison in any form or manner. Okay. He can also cause poisons through drugs also, in the form of drug abuse or even overdose. We look for Gulika and Chas to see overdose cases. Gulika will do that. Gulika is one which consumes poisons. But in some cases, it can also cause you to poison others. Normally, Mandi, however, is used to see how others are being poisoned. But if Gulika is under many benefics, then obviously you will not be consuming the poison. Alright? Some people say even if Venus associates, then it ensures you're protected from the poison and it's given to somebody else. And Jupiter will ensure that you consume it. Just like Venus protects against the fire, so you're protected against the poison. Jupiter brings the fire home, so Jupiter brings home the poison. You have learned that Saturn, Rahu and Ketu have some link to drugs, but the entire cycle of drugs comes from Gulika first. He's the one who starts it. Then the others consume it and use it for various purposes. Chandra Drishte, Chaura Pahrita, Dhanas Chaurava, Moon aspecting or associated with Gulika in any way indicates theft or receipt of stolen wealth. See, Moon indicates all sustenance. Alright? Every article you use for sustenance. So when we speak of Moon, it can be any article like food or money or even articles which you can use for selling. Like if you have a business, then Moon will indicate the things that you keep in the business, the goods that you're going to sell later. If Gulika associates, then you're actually, when you receive that wealth, when you're receiving it, then it may not have come from a good place. It may not have come from a person who is sincere. They may have stolen the wealth and sold it to you. Whereas Mandi means that you're taking that you already have those goods and you're giving it to others, selling it to others. Okay? So it's both ways. Gulika you receive, Manda you distribute. But moon shows the sustenance, the wealth that you're having. All the goods rather, not the wealth but the goods. Buddha matra drishte,
Buddha matra drishte,
brihat bija.
brihat bija.
If Mercury associates, it causes diseases of the private parts. Now herein, what Mercury is doing is that Mercury rules the skin. Okay? Mercury rules all skin. And if Gulika is associated with Buddha, or rather Mercury is associated with Gulika, then what is happening is that skin is giving an issue in the private parts, because Gulika rules that which is hidden. Just like here, the wealth is coming from a place which is hidden. It was stolen, taken, given to you. So that means there's an element of something which is hidden in this. Similarly here, it shows that that there's a skin issue in the private parts, in a hidden place of the body. So when this associates with health, then we can say it's the case. If it's associated with trines to the Navamsha Lagna, then it's not related to health directly. This is only for 4th house in Navamsha. Alright? So this appears related to 10th house in its trines in Navamsha. This is for 4th house in its trines in Navamsha. Because we're talking of health and we're talking of wealth. Tatra ketau,
Tatra keta,
papadrishtau,
papa drishta,
karnacheda,
karna cheda,
karnaroguva.
karna rogova.
Ketu aspecting or conjoining the swamsha results in perforation of the eardrums or other ear ailments. Now, this is a mixed sutra. Again, they're all a bit mixed. See, this Tatra again came up, so 2nd house. So earlier we were talking about 2nd house, this is 2nd from 2nd, so this can be 3rd house. Or it can be 1st house, or it can be 2nd house. Okay. If Ketu is associated with 2nd house, it causes a disease in the ears. Okay. It causes disease in the ears.
2nd house.
Yes. Ear infection, things like that. Ear eczema, things like that. More so if it associates with Saturn.
Because of
Disease. If associated with the Karakamsha, then it's a bit different, because Atma Karaka relates to what you want, what you're doing. So, if Ketu associates with the Atma Karaka directly, or 3rd house from Atma Karaka, you would like to pierce your ears. Okay? I can give an example. Do you remember the chart of Sanjay Rath? Right? He has Scorpio Lagna in Navamsha. Venus and Ketu are on Lagna. Okay? Saturn is having Graha Drishti on that Ketu. So, there's a risk for a temporary period of time, he may have a disease in his ears. Right? So, ear infection is indicated. Venus is there with Ketu. So, it causes some cure to come about, some medicine. So, a lady was the one who gave him the medicine to cure him. Venus. Another chart. Venus Atma Karaka in Taurus in Navamsha. Means desires I'm talking about now. Karakamsha, Atma Karaka. And Ketu is in Cancer Navamsha. So Ketu is in 3rd from Atma Karaka, and it has Rashi Drishti on Atma Karaka. The person has, it's a man who has very large earlobes, and he has put earrings in them which expand the earlobes. Something like that. So that's why it can be disease or pierced ears also. Now, some spiritual rituals require you to pierce your ears. They require that. Now watch this. Shukra drishte,
Shukra drishte,
dikshita.
dikshita.
When Venus associates, you'll get diksha. So Venus associated with Ketu can give you diksha. We can time this using transits. When Ketu transits over your Venus, there's a chance you might get Diksha of some mantra. Okay. It also refers to somebody who is on a spiritual path. We say that Venus Ketu Yoga indicates person who is maybe an ascetic on a spiritual path of sorts. Meditation, yes, comes from this. Yes, exactly. The religious path. We'll expand on that in the next slide. Buddha Shani Drishte. Nirvirya. Both Mercury and Saturn associating indicates impotency.
Just them, two of them together, or some other graphs involved?
This will give impotency no matter what. Okay? If with Venus, it completely removes all potency. Completely removes it. If this happens in Navamsha, you are incapable of loving the person. If this happens in Saptamsa, you are incapable physically of having children. You do not have virility. Sexual incapability is coming. So Nirvirya, no capability. If this happens in Dashamsha, you're incapable of working. If this happens in Siddhamsha, you're incapable of studying. So this Mercury-Saturn yoga, be very careful of this. It can completely ruin one divisional chart because you're not able to perform there. Now, there can be different reasons for this. If Buddha Shani is associated with 8,000 Dashamsha, you retire early because you're incapable of working. If Buddha Shani are in, let's say, 3rd house, you go on vacation because you are incapable of working. Maybe you need some rest. If Buddha and Shani on the Lagna Dashamsha, you're not interested in work to begin with, so you don't work.
What would be in Lagna Navamsha, for instance?
Lagna Navamsha, then it means that maybe you're not interested in learning things, lack of skill set maybe, you're not interested simply in pursuing anything. If Venus is associated, it completely depletes the ojas, because we know Venus gives you Shatendriya, 100 years of potency. Right? So that means that Venus gets quelled by this Buddha Shani Drishti. No virya, no ability. If Ketu is associated, then gone. Simply nothing is left.
The virility aspect is also because of the fact that they're eunuchs.
Exactly. These are causing this. They're eunuchs. Right.
Haven't you connected that also with some homosexuality or something?
Yes, they say that, yes. It can be connected with that.
With Ketu is worse.
With Ketu, it's worst, yes. This can cause also celibacy, right?
Yes. Saturn, no, Venus, with Venus, no?
Any, just the Saturn Mercury. In fact, he's given a nice point here. Saturn as Atmakaraka in Mercurial sign, or Mercury as Atmakaraka in Saturn sign, activates the yoga as well, and this can be celibacy forced by circumstances due to spirituality, associated with the path of the soul. Moon can break this any time. See, this yoga, please do not take it as simply being a bad yoga. Okay? The soul has no gender. The soul has no gender. So when you talk about Atmakaraka, it can grant a lot of spirituality. But for that spirituality to really be strong, you need Venus. You need Venus associated. Or Jupiter. So let's get to that. Buddha Shukra Drishte.
Buddha Shukra Drishte.
Pauna. Punika.
Punika.
Dashiputrova.
Dashiputrova.
Mercury and Venus aspecting indicates somebody who is a mimic. Mimic, what does that mean? Imitation. Imitating others, right? Like somebody says something in some voice, you repeat it in the same voice as a mimic. Also imitation of other things. An actor is doing what? Imitating another character. Specifically, that comes more so from Mercury. So actors have to be seen from Mercury. Okay? Mercury can
Is it not
make
Ketu
person.
as well for actors?
Mercury. Mercury is the main one.
Okay, but Ketu can also, not joined together, but Ketu can also indicate transformations and taking someone else's head as your own.
No.
Something like that, no?
No.
There was such explanation in one article.
Okay.
Oh,
Mercury is actors.
okay.
Okay? Remember that.
I knew that.
Very talkative. Gossip.
Hmm.
Mercury and Venus yogas will cause lots and lots and lots and lots of gossip. If a person has Mercury Venus yoga in their chart, in their Navamsha especially, don't tell them a secret. Everybody will know. Okay? They cannot keep secrets. They really like to gossip. Very talkative. Now, the most interesting part of this sutra is Dashiputrova. Dashiputra means is the child of a maidservant, which normally implies that your mother was having a relationship with her master. Master meaning the person who was her boss or something like that. So the child has come out of wedlock. It's not within marriage or anything like that.
Rashi or in Navamsha?
We use this also in Navamsha. Okay? If Ketu associates with this yoga, it's not very nice because it can indicate that the mother was forced in this situation.
So if you find this combination in Navamsha, it refers to our parents, not on ourselves. That we
That
could
means
conceive child.
means your father was that boss.
Okay.
Okay? And your mother was working for the boss.
I
So
hate
this
it
is
for-
not
I
only
hate
the
it for
us.
Yes, hold on. Hold on. There's an exception. Don't worry. Okay? And by the way, Ketu's associate, big problem. Big problem. Because it indicates that mother could be forced. Remember I said that? If Jupiter is strong in Navamsha Lagna and trines from it, then it didn't happen. Then the person simply has these qualities. Pauna, Punika. Yes, gossip yoga. But you're not gossip yoga. Where's Mercury, Venus, which house? Fifth house, in Navamsha.
No, Rashi. See, no, maybe.
No, Rashi now.
It must be Navamsha for the Dashiputra yoga.
Hmm.
We also use Trim Samsa, but later we'll do that. Because of this Punika, repeating, this Pauna. Pauna means repeat all the time. Repeat. We also call this Japa yoga. So there's a spiritual dimension also. Mercury Venus yogas make a person do lots of japa. They're good at doing lots of japa. So this is also a spiritual yoga. So a person has Mercury Venus yoga and tries to Navamsha Lagna. Tell them you can earn lots of money from doing japa for people. There are some people whose sole occupation is, you go to them, you say you have a problem, okay, I will do this mantra for you for 40 days, and you pay me so much and I'll do it. This is the japa yoga.
What's the difference with this yoga in Navamsha and Rashi chart?
In Rashi chart, it need not indicate a skill you have. In Triumphs Navamsha Lagna is a skill you have, and it can even give you earnings. In Rashi, it means you know somebody who does lots of japa, or is repeating all the time, or is talking all the time, very gossipful. That's what it means. Okay? Like Mutlu, she probably knows somebody who's a real gossiper. Lagna Lord is there in fifth house, join Venus. She interacts in that a little bit because Lagna Lord is involved. Gossip is going on there. See that?
What would be the explanation for this maid servant thing? Like the child was not born in the.
Why it happened?
Yeah, what is the connection Mercury and Venus? I don't get.
Rajas. Mercury and Venus do not give marriage formally. Venus indicates Gandharva Vivaha. Nobody was consulted, the two of them got together. Parents did not get involved, the two of them got together. Okay? No blessing of parents was there for the relationship. Gandharva Vivaha Venus. Mercury, there is some type of payment, money transaction going on. You could be working for the person. Okay? So when you see actors who have Mercury Venus yoga, or famous people, you know why they got busted for talking to a prostitute. See this related to scandals then. It may not be there just because there's a yoga. Right? I don't think Mutlu has ever consulted such things. Jupiter is very strong, not a chance.
And
But it relates to that.
one more thing, what is this concubine? Is it that means that it was child? It was not the child from the family. It was the child from another guy, or how do you?
Concubine means that the mother was not married to the husband, but was his mistress.
Some kind
mistress.
In some kind of.
Mistress means he was having an affair with the mother. The father was having an affair with the mother outside his marriage. Okay? Like kings, it was very common in the old days that they would have a wife and a concubine. Or many concubines in some cases, which we'll not just get in detail with. But this refers to that the mother was a concubine. Okay?
Out of the wedlock.
Out of wedlock.
What you said.
Yes. Jupiter in Navamsha removes this. Okay. Remember Japa Yoga? Okay. Shani Drishte Tapasvi Prasyopava. If Saturn aspects the Venus Ketu Yoga in Swamsa, it produces a tapasvi, one who undertakes powerful religious penances. Or a prasya. Prasya means or a servant. Okay? So we have to figure out what's going on here, because here it says Venus Ketu, right? Before this we had Mercury Venus Yoga. Hold on. We'll get there. Remember this. See, we'll use this in all these sutras now. Shani Matra Drishte Sanyasa Bhasa. Saturn alone aspecting indicates that either he is a fraud wearing the garbs of a monk, fake sannyasi, hippie, or alternatively, one having a strong intention and purpose but leading normal life. Okay, this is called Vairagya Sutra, and we have to now combine it with all the previous sutras that we learned in matters of spirituality. Two planets are important, Jupiter and Venus. Jupiter and Venus indicate Bhakti Yoga. They don't have to be together. But unless Jupiter or Venus are involved in the yoga, there's no Bhakti. Spiritual yogas, they have no use if there's no Bhakti. Correct? You need the Nishta of Jupiter or the Kami of Venus. Right? The single-minded focus of Jupiter or the passion and strong desire of Venus. There's a difference between Jupiter and Venus. Venus will do it alone. Jupiter will do it with a tradition, with a guru. This is the first difference we make out. If either of the two gurus, Jupiter or Venus, associate with Mercury, then it is Japa Yoga. Okay? Mercury will give Japa Yoga also with Jupiter, also with Venus. Venus with Mercury, you were doing Japa on your own, you saw some mantra on the internet, you started doing Japa. Jupiter with Mercury, your guru told you and you started doing Japa.
Rashi chart or Navamsha?
Navamsha. This is Navamsha. You will use this in Navamsha. Most important. We mentioned Ketu earlier. If Ketu associates with Jupiter, we call it Parampara Yoga. If Ketu associates with Venus, we call it a type of Tapasvi Yoga. You know it is Dikshita Yoga. Right? Ketu is giving meditation. So either you got meditation from your guru, Jupiter, or you did it alone, Venus. That's it. Simple. It's very simple. So now you have Jupiter or Venus with Ketu, or Jupiter or Venus with Mercury. Saturn associating with these yogas can give sannyasa.
Like Shani Guru Ketu or Shani?
Yes, all combinations. Shani with Guru Ketu yoga, Shani with Venus Ketu yoga, Shani with Venus Mercury yoga, Shani with Jupiter Mercury yoga. Basically I club them in two schools. Japa yoga and meditation yoga, dhyana yoga.
Rashi Drishti?
Japa yoga, dhyana yoga. Saturn associating Rashi Drishti can give sannyasa.
But I don't understand. If Saturn alone aspects, what?
Those yogas. Saturn alone aspects Jupiter Mercury yoga. Saturn alone aspects Venus Mercury yoga. Saturn alone aspects Jupiter Ketu. Saturn alone aspects Venus Ketu.
So Saturn which is not conjoined with anything or Saturn.
Only his aspect. If only his aspect is there, it can produce sannyasa.
Oh, that.
If other grahas aspect, then you will not take sannyasa. So if Saturn is aspecting, but also Mars is aspecting, then you may not take sannyasa.
Then it's a fraud wearing the garb robes. and the-
Yes. Then you are still in, fraud. Wait. We have to get to fraud now. Fraud yoga is when Saturn has aspect, but Venus and Jupiter are not involved.
So it's like Saturn and Ketu, for example.
Saturn Ketu, Saturn Mercury, exactly.
But no Shubhya.
The gurus cannot get involved if it's fake.
If Guru is involved,
Then it's serene, it's pure. Because you have a guru who gave you sannyasa. In case of Venus, you had the strong desire and you took sannyasa. If bhakti is not there, then the yoga fails. Then it's fake sannyasa. So the bhakti element comes from Jupiter and Venus. Okay? Both of them will give bhakti. Very smart, eh? Very clear, step by step I took you through it. Now, if Saturn is aspecting this spiritual yoga, and another planet is also aspecting this spiritual yoga, that is when you decide, okay, I will not take sannyas, I still have other things to do. The other planet, other things to do. And you do that for some time, then you take sannyasa. Okay. Note, abhasa means 1. Mere appearance or fallacious appearance. Or 2. Having intention and purpose only. Saturn will be Atmakaraka in the charts of very good Brahmanas, or it will conjoin the Atmakaraka planet. If Venus also conjoins the Karakamsha, then he should renounce. If not, then he can be spiritual and wear the white and other colors, but should not wear the saffron robes. Saffron robes are associated with the renunciation, as that would amount to misleading the world. Okay? Karakamshe, Ravi Shukra Drishte, Raja Preshta. Okay. If the Sun and Venus aspect or conjoin the Atmakaraka, that is Karakamsha, royal assignment, government, political office, and favor comes his way. Sun, we know, government servant. Venus, bureaucrat. We talked about that already. If it's associated with Atmakaraka, then the person seeks to do that. They seek to be in such positions. Associated with Navamsha Lagna, then the person is skilled at these things. Okay?
What if Sun and Venus are in 10 in Navamsha?
Then you will earn from government and bureaucrats. A wise person should follow the karma path indicated by the Atmakaraka. That is implied by this. And that is also why Jaimini says Karakamsha this time and not Swamsha. He said, if this is associated with Karakamsha, this is what you should do. Your Atma wants you to do this, so do it. Okay.
I never wanted to go into politics.
So?
Just responding to that look you gave me.
Ah,
Now I may use their power, but I'm not going to go into it myself.
okay. You argue with Jaimini, not with me. Okay? Now. Shukra Indau,
Shukra Indau,
Shukra Drishtek,
Shukra Drishte,
Rasavadi.
Rasavadi.
The moon is Swamsha, aspected by Venus, gives capability to deal with liquids and chemicals. So now he's adding, yes, moon with Venus will give this capability of working with chemicals. This must be associated with trines to Navamsha Lagna. This must be associated with the Karakamsha itself. If it is in trines to Karakamsha, it means you really, really want to study this. You really want to study this. You will have a strong desire to get into some business maybe dealing with liquids and chemicals. Does anybody have that in here? Atma Karka join Moon and Venus? Or in trines to Moon and Venus? Anybody? Dennis, do you have that?
Yes, sir.
Sun Atma Karka join Moon Venus. You want to open a business, right? With liquids and chemicals. Okay. Jaimini is so clear.
Well, I have to just confess one thing. When I was in university, I did actually run for
Sun Atma Karka joined Venus. You ran for what? The board in the college?
no, yeah, but the highest one possible.
All right.
And
It's there.
Mhm.
The desire is there. Follow the Atma and you will always be successful. Okay.
were you elected?
No, thankfully not.
Notably before he said this will also make you a bhogi and vidya jivacha, the same yoga. But he said there that the moon has to be strong. Okay? Moon has to be strong for that. Any other moon will give this. Any other moon
When you say this, you mean
will give rasavadi, somebody who deals with rasas. Rasas means liquids and chemicals. Okay? Rasa Anubhava. Rasa Anubhava is the state in which you are immersed in the rasas. It can also mean that, you see, between these chakras there are these oceans. So you can be immersed in those state of those oceans, which is like a blissful, ananda state. That blissful state comes from Moon and Venus also. When people have that blissful state, it comes from this. Why are you smiling?
Yes, because there is a fake blissful state of consuming such liquids.
Yeah, that's a separate issue. That's also there. We have to use this in all charts. Like, if you see Moon Venus Yoga in D20 chart, Vimsamsha, it means these people can go easily into this Rasasvada. There's another term, Rasasvada state. Swami Shivananda describes this in his book Dhyana Yoga. He describes this Rasasvada state. Completely in bliss. Okay?
Wow.
But yes, you can also be in bliss by consuming certain chemicals and liquids. This will be more Rashi chart, you know. It's also a combination for great wealth, and many wealthy people are also connoisseurs. Connoisseurs of all kinds of wines, alcohol, and spirituous liquids. Connoisseurs, yeah, that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to worry, Guruji. I dropped those liquids many years ago.
Oh yeah? Yes. This is also the Radha Krishna Yoga. Moon and Venus. Radha Krishna Yoga.
Would it not be Buddha and Venus?
Moon is Krishna, Venus is Radha.
And when you come to okay. I thought the Buddha Shukra is Vishnu Lakshmi and Vishnu Radha,
You
whatever.
can add all sorts of combinations here, as you want. As you want. Radha Krishna is one we call it. But I'll add that the rasa here is most important, which is coming from the moon. So therefore, this yoga has to do with either Krishna, where you do the mantra for having children, or for Gauri. And in Gauri, we use Bauma Vrata. That's also for having children. Gauri is associated with the moon. So you have two choices. You can worship Krishna and say, Devaki Sutam Govindam Vasudevam Jagatpati. It's a mantra for having children. I find this very interesting. Everybody who does this and is unmarried, this mantra, they get married and have children. Because obviously you cannot
need somebody, yes.
have children unless you find a spouse first, a partner. And because you're doing mantra for it, it guarantees a father of the child also. And Bauma Vrata also does this. There's a Bauma Vrata mantra for those who want to worship Gauri.
What's that? Bauma Vrata?
Bauma literally means you're worshipping Mars. but you're worshipping Mars as the son of the Mother Gauri, the son of the earth. Yeah. It's also given in Vedic remedies. Now, Buddha Drishte Bhishat.
Krishna, Krishna.
If Mercury aspects this combination, it produces a doctor or gives work related to medicine. Specifically, it should relate to the moon because the moon is the one controlling the rasa. Remember I said moon is Krishna and moon is Gauri. And these two vratas give children. And they are the ones controlling the rasa. So similarly, Mercury associated with the moon specifically will make you a doctor. We call this Atri Yoga, the Atri combination. Atri is the father of Ayurveda. And these two moon Mercury are the two planets belonging to Atri Gotra and guiding the native in his profession to become a good doctor or healer. So good doctors must have moon Mercury yoga and you must tell them to worship Atri. So there are some mantras here. You can do Om Dram Atriyaya Nama. Om Dram Dattatriyaya Nama. Om Dram Ratatrayaya Nama. Ratatraya. People from Atri Gotra, they can have the name Datta or Rata as their last names. Like Sanjeev Datta. They like to call themselves in Bengal, Datta. Or Dutt. And then there's Sanjay Rat or Sanjay Rata. They belong to the same Gotra, which is Atri. Rata and Datta are basically sons of Atri.
Transcends conjunctions.
Yes. I use this in Dashamsha, in 10th house, 2nd house, 6th house. In Navamsha, I see trines to Navamsha Lagna to see if they're a good doctor. If it's in trines to 10th house, they're not good doctors, but they earn from good doctors. Okay?
Perhaps Parivartana included like
Yes, also Parivartana.
Budinkarka and Chandra in Kanu.
Yes, I've seen that many times. There,
I know one.
yes,
Such case.
that will be there. I don't look for Rashi for this.
And Chandra
If it is there Rashi, great, make a hospital.
this is in Navamsha.
This is for Navamsha, this is the actual skill.
Yes, yes, yes.
In Rashi, you have to create something physical outward.
You said opposition
You
is
can
not
remember from that was Chandra's up.
In Rashi, when moon is opposite Mercury, then there's then the knowledge is not strong. Okay, then there's a problem. I never advise in that case. You can earn from it, but you should not practice it. Source of power. Different planets in the fifth from Swamsha give different powers. And most of these sutras we've been discussing relate to the fifth from Swamsha. They can also refer to first house from Swamsha. But the fifth house gives physical power. Malefic planets give the power of using physical hurting weapons. While benefic planets give the power of words, like a good writer, a good speaker, writing a book. Whereas Mars, you can actually have real weapons. Rahu, bows, or mantras. How well we use 10. These weapons is seen from the second from Swamsha. So you have a weapon in fifth house. Second house will show how well you use it. Therefore, planets in the second house also influence the fifth house by giving an impetus for learning the skills associated. So you have bad planets in second house in Navamsha, they are obstructing you from learning the fifth house properly. Okay, so you have to deal with them, do mantras for them, remedies, then you'll be able to learn those skills of the fifth house properly. For spirituality, the Atma Karaka or Karakamsha has to be involved, and if involved with the yogas for weapons, then the native exhibits profound skill in their use. The mantras of the weapons are actually those of their Digpala. For example, if the sun is giving the weapon, then whether it is a physical weapon or the knowledge of Vedanta, we'll discuss this later with the sun, the weapon is Vajra, and it comes from Indra, or Krishna as Indra. Indra has a weapon that is the lightning bolt. So the sun, which indicates the east direction of Indra, gives the power of the lightning bolt. Krishna can also take this power. As Indra is the Digpala eastern direction, we've noted it. If a person wishes to excel in any field, then he should pray to the Dikpala for the weapon that will make his brain razor sharp and become the best in his line, or achieve the maximum that he can in that line.
You look for the weapon of the fifth house. The Lord of the fifth house, right?
What?
The Lord of the fifth house will be how the weapon is.
Which weapon is in the fifth house? The nun, see the Lord. Okay? See the second house to see if there's something obstructing you from learning that weapon.
Second from fifth or second from the...
Second
Lagna?
from the Lagna. Because it's the 10th from the 5th which shows using that weapon.
Okay.
Okay. So now we will enter into weapons. And see what we understand from it. Tatra Shanau Dhanushka.
Tatra Shanau Danushka.
Saturn alone in the 2nd or 5th houses produces an archer. Dhanushka is archer, bowman.
And here it is
Earlier we
not
heard Rahu,
possession.
right?
Yes.
So Rahu is a bowman, but here this is very specific. Either in 2nd or in 5th, it's a bow, which is the weapon. Okay? That is why this is in a different context. Because now we're going to specifically speak of weapons. Earlier we heard all these skills, which largely relate more so to the Atma Karaka and Navamsha, more so. They can even motivate you in a specific line, give specific skills. But here now we'll talk of weapons, and we have to specifically see 5th house and 2nd house from Navamsha. Do you know anybody who wields a bow? Rama?
Yeah.
Okay. Note, in the modern age this could vary from archery to using missiles, spears, rifles, which are weapons at the end of a stick. Tatra can refer to 2nd house, which is more likely, as for Sagittarius, the archer called Dhanush. The 2nd house is naturally ruled by Saturn. Okay. Let's see the next one. Ketuna Katika Yantri.
Ketuka Gatika Yantri.
Ketu in these houses gives abilities to make watches and other precision equipment, light engineering and electronic goods. So this is why Ketu gives this. Okay? This is the weapon he will apply, the weapon he will use. Budena, Paramahamsho,
Paramahamsho.
Laguriva.
Laguriva.
What's a Paramahamsho?
Hamsa is this swan.
Hamsa is the swan. What's a Paramahamsa?
Grace.
Swan-like personality. All right. Hamsa means the soul. Okay?
Yes.
So when we say Paramahamsa Yogananda,
Yes.
Ramakrishna Paramahamsa,
Grace.
they are supposed to be the universal souls, those which are part of the Paramatma. Okay? Mercury indicates an ascetic, a member of a religious order, or one who uses a walking stick. So Mercury indicates one who's having a walking stick. What
Yeah.
happened?
Walkie stick.
Yes,
Bogdan has
Mercury in
one.
2nd.
Mercury in 2nd. So your weapon is a walking stick.
I
So
will
you must
use
walk
it.
around with walking stick.
You
You will
have
find
the
whenever
money.
you use that walking stick,
You will
that
have
it gives
increasing
Raja Yoga.
finances. Yes.
Really?
yes,
It's in 2nd.
when you carry that walking stick, you'll get Raja Yoga.
Jaimini. Jaimini.
Exactly. So you start using the stick, you learn Jaimini.
How
Ah,
interesting.
how interesting.
Impossible.
Mercury is your Atma Karaka, isn't it?
Yeah.
What? Super.
Great, you got rid of the crutches.
Jaimini, what is this? What are you trying to tell us? So I asked my Guruji one day, Guruji, what is this big deal about the walking stick? What do I do with this? He said, see, what this is telling you is which path you should take also. If you read Parashara, he has one chapter just on which different religious orders you can be part of based on the various grahas. And this walking stick and this hint at Paramahamsa is actually a hint at which spiritual path you must take in life. Okay? How to do this? See if you have a planet in 5th house from Atma Karaka, because Atma Karaka has to do with the soul, and we're looking at path of the soul. See the 5th house. Is there a planet there, or there's no planet there? See the planet which you have picked up, and go to Parashara and read. Okay, he says for Mercury, that person will belong to the religious order which has a walking stick. If Sun, they'll wear red robes. If Moon, they'll have a chakra. And then study these religious orders and see which spiritual path you're supposed to take in life. Mercury, one who must be part of the entire universe. He's only given one. The others he expects you will learn. You will read about. So somebody has to cut to me after a break or so, say this is what Parashara says, and then we have to derive all the paths. Homework. Find the path associated with each graha. Choose that path. Because Jaimini will give sutra. Just one sutra. The rest you figure out. Rahuna, Loha Yantri, again yantras. Rahu in the 5th house indicates somebody who will work with metal, metallurgist, heavy engineering, big construction, big machines. Somebody who will also work with yantras. Why does he have to mention Rahu, especially Ketu? Because when you read about these sannyas yogas from Parashara, he will not mention Rahu and Ketu. He's mentioned them now. Okay? So if you have Ketu in trines, you must work with time. Katika Yantri. Oh, Yantri again! Rahu and Ketu indicate yantras both.
What is Gatika? That is for time.
Katika Yantri means a watch machine, time machine.
Time machine, yes.
There's also another time machine they use in temples. Have you seen the time machine? It's very smart. They have this big pot. They fill it up with water. Every time the water is empty, it means 24 minutes have passed. Whilst those 24 minutes are passing, that water is dripping down on a Shiva Linga. What is he really referring to? In case of Ketu, you must do something, we do Abhishek. In case of Rahu, you must have a yantra. See, Loha, metal yantra. Flat, metal, solid. Something which is not moving. Ketu, Katika. Something which has a time-based function. Which is doing Abhishek all the time.
Could Gatika Yantra also means mean child?
Smart fellow.
Are we looking for sutra?
Sorry?
Can Gatika Yantra means a chart, like a Jyotish chart?
All charts are yantras, yes, they are. So how do you do Abhishek to a yantra? Because he says you must do something with time and a yantra, and it must be time-based, a chart. So Ketu gives astrologers. How can you do it? Can you do Abhishek to a chart? Yes, you can take your chart, put in metal, put in glass frame or anything else, and you can get some water and it drips on it all the time. Your chart is complete Abhishek all the time. Life is cool. It's cool. Even better, I like to do this. I'll give you some real tips. You take your chart, get Sarvatubhadra Chakra for your chart. Your chart, Sarvatubhadra Chakra. Put a Shivalinga in the middle. Shivalinga. Now, make the water drip down. Sarvatubhadra means everything is sweet. Everything is beautiful. So life becomes beautiful.
Shiva
So
Lingam.
what did I just do? I combined Ketu and Rahu. Yantra. Cha.
So you put them together, it's...
Jaimini, you're so smart. So smart. Now, why are we looking at second and fifth house for these weapons? Because
Just switch this
I didn't switch it on. I was just checking the time. We're soon breaking, so we keep eating. I have to finish some 2 slides. 2 slides, then we'll eat. Now, second and fifth house do not relate to weapons. So why are we looking there for weapons? Where do you normally see weapons in the chart? Third house. Where do you use them? 6th house. Both these houses are in 12th therefrom. So, the second and fifth house are the resources to go and fight people. Okay? the supply for going to fight is seen from the second and fifth. That's why second and fifth shows the weapons you're going to use in any battle. Or even for peace for that matter. Sixth house you can cause peace also. So that is why we're looking at these in second or fifth houses. It is good for you to advise people to have a stick on them all the time if Mercury is indicating this path. Now it gets a bit problematic to have this all the time, so you advise them to have a pen on their pocket all the time. Okay, that's a good weapon. Get a watch. Okay. Rahu, it says Loha. Loha can mean some metal. What metal can you use?
A bracelet?
Bracelet, yes. You have Rahu in second house from Navamsha Lagna. Bracelet, solid bracelet, must be solid. You can even put mantras on the
What do you
bracelet.
mean by solid?
One
Solid.
piece.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's one piece.
One piece.
Saturn? No.
K2, watch. Wear a watch.
Does it have to be can it be a digital watch or should it be one with moving parts?
It would be beautiful when
Moving parts is certainly more appreciated.
Because some people will ask you that question because they don't prefer wearing analog watches.
Good point. I don't see how, if Jaimini has restricted us in any way here. I don't see it. Okay? I don't see it. So I cannot give you a complete answer. Jaimini has not given us anything distinct in this pattern.
What would you advise? A normal watch?
Just get a watch. Okay? If you see it's not working, then you change. Get a normal watch.
For
Right
Saturn?
hand side, left hand is better.
People wear it on the left hand, it's fine. It's okay. Culturally, it's fine. Wear it on left. No problem.
Saturn in second house? What is Ketu? Watch?
Danushka, what do we do with bow? What can it relate to?
Dan.
it's I don't know, before you mentioned it's a weapon related to mantras or
It's a
something.
weapon related to mantras.
Mm.
Something like that. When we were talking about that, Rahu and obsession.
We have to think about that. I really don't have an answer for that. I really don't. This slide and one more after this. Ravina, Khadgin. The sun indicates a sword. Okay? Or one who carries a blade, like a knife also. Okay? This is also having a hidden meaning. If you have bad dreams or nightmares at night, take a small knife and put underneath your mattress. Your bad dreams will go away. Good remedy. Offering weapons is normally seen from the second and fifth house. So if you have sun in these houses, it's good for you to offer these weapons. Specifically, when you offer it to the second house, it indicates Devata, Pratyadi Devata. In the fifth house, it's Vishnu avatar. Does it say here also? No, I don't think so. Durga specifically is the one who wields the sword. So this particularly, this sun here relating to swords is more appropriate for the second house, more appropriate in that context. Kujana Kunti. Mars alone in the fifth indicates somebody who's holding a spear, a lancer, or spear wielder. Okay? See, the fifth house is mantra, or that which protects and shows a skill one learns through training and practice. The ninth house requires skills to be taught specifically by a teacher. Hence the guru is the second father. The second house being the 10th, which is karma, from the fifth shows the use of these weapons. Different weapons have been indicated for the planets in this fifth house to guard the second house. Therefore second also is seen for the weapons. The sun in addition also rules firearms, and the sword is said to be the hand of fire. Saturn also rules clubs and maces. So you can advise something related to clubs and maces. Okay, it is possible. So we should not be so rigid by following Jaimini's specific indications, but also understand other planetary significations here. of which I advise read Parashara. He gives some very specific indications. Read it. And he also gives the path of the soul. Here are the weapons for the avatars. We'll recite them once each, then we will break for lunch. Sun. Shri Ramaya.
Shri Ramaya.
Dhanushpanaye Swaha.
Dhanushpanaye Swaha.
Moon. Shri Krishnaya.
Shri Krishnaya.
Chakrapanaye Swaha.
Chakrapanaye Swaha.
Shri Nrisimhaya.
Shri Nrisimhaya.
Vajranakaya Swaha.
Vajranakaya Swaha.
For Mercury. Balabhadraya.
Balabhadraya.
Haladharaya Swaha.
Haladharaya Swaha.
Shri Vamanaya.
Shri Vamanaya.
Dandadharaya Swaha.
Dandadharaya Swaha.
For Venus. Ramaya.
Ramaya.
Parashupanaye Swaha.
Parashupanaye Swaha.
You can also say Shri Ramaya. Okay? So we'll do that. Shri Ramaya.
Shri Ramaya.
Parashupanaye Swaha.
Parashupanaye Swaha.
The Saturn. Shri Kurmaya.
Shri Kurmaya.
Meru Prishtaya Swaha.
Meru Prishtaya Swaha.
Rahu. Shri Varahaya.
Shri Varahaya.
Ghoradhanstraya Swaha.
Goradhamstraya Swaha.
There's an alternative for Rahu if you'd like the name Venkatesha instead. That's for Balaji, Tirupati Balaji. Venkateshaya.
Venkateshaya.
Ghoradhanstraya Swaha.
Goradhamstraya Swaha.
Now Ketu. Sri Matsyaya.
Shri Matsyaya.
Sutradharaya Swaha.
Sutradharaya Swaha.
And we'll break for lunch. You can note down these mantras. Come on.